Good morning.
Hello. We are on the tail end of our trip on the Great Central Road. So I figured we'd do a little video to help people understand the Great Central Road a little bit more. I did a lot of research beforehand, and I found it a little bit hard to find all the information. There's a lot of old stuff on there, so I figured I'd do an updated version. Also, there's a lot of information on going from Perth to Yulara for the Great Central Road, not Yulara to Perth. And we drove from Yulara, which is Uluru, to Perth. So I figured I'd give you a little bit of an update on what we did, how it went, what the conditions were, and all that jazz.
As of April 2026.
Yes, yeah. So we are traveling on the Anzac Day long weekend. It was pretty smooth. Highly, highly recommend taking the road. Definitely would do again. So just a little bit of information about the Great Central Road. So we drove the Great Central part, which is Yulara, to Laverton, which is 1,100 Ks. But our end goal on this trip, which would be most people, is going from Yulara to Perth, which is 2,000 Ks total. So it's quite a big drive, a great drive as well. From Yulara to Laverton, there are 6 petrol stations from start to finish. So the first petrol station where you start off is in Yulara. That's near the Ayers Rock campground, which we stayed at and highly recommend it. And then the next petrol station from there was Docker River. And the following station, petrol station was Warrakurna, I think that's how you pronounce it, is the next petrol station. That one's a 24-hour petrol station, which is great. We filled up there. The following petrol station is Warburton. And then the next one is Chukiyirla. Is that how you say it?
I think so.
Yeah. Chukiyirla. Great burgers there. Highly recommend.
Mhm.
And then the next petrol station would be in Laverton. It's really important to make sure that you check the hours of the petrol stations. We traveled on the long weekend and we left on a Saturday. So, for example, Docker Station or Docker River was closed. That was fine. Didn't affect us at all, but it could affect you. It's about 250 to 300 Ks between each petrol station. So you need to be mindful of what your car, how far your car can go between fills. The conditions of the road were really good. We would say 80% of the drive from Yulara to Laverton was unsealed roads, and the condition was actually surprisingly really, really good. The Northern Territory side was the most like corrugated. There were a few washouts, a little bit bumpier, but really not that bad. Like I wouldn't say it was terrible and miserable the entire time. I really wouldn't. And it's a really short section as well. Once you get onto the WA side, it was very, very nicely graded roads. As we got closer to Laverton, it did get a little bit more bumpy, but out of that 80% that is unsealed, about 10% of it was like not great. The rest was like really smooth, totally fine to drive. I was a little bit stressed out and worried that it was going to like rattle everything crazy, but it actually was great. The
Smooth
roads,
sailing.
yeah, smooth sailing. The roads are really, really big. So you have lots of space to go around, like washouts and just kind of maneuver around. The weather was really good. We didn't have rain. There hadn't been rain recently, so it was quite dry. So the road condition was excellent. There were graders on the road as well, which thank you to all the graders. We really appreciate it. We know after doing this drive, the Great Central Road is going to become a major drive for a lot of people traveling from Perth to Uluru. It's definitely doable for a 4-wheel drive and a caravan. 2-wheel drive, yeah, you just have to go really, really slow. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, there wasn't any issues with clearance. It was a little bumpy in places, but we saw a couple of two-wheel drives, like rollers even out there.
Yeah,
Look,
yeah,
obviously it will depend on the condition, but at the moment it was no issue at all.
yeah,
I would happily do an absolute two-wheel drive.
yeah, yeah. So highly recommend it. The conditions were great, and I know it's going to get better because they're doing the grading. So yeah, the Northern Territory side was the worst, and that was the first thing that we hit. And after we hit the WA border, it was pretty much smooth sailing after that. Yeah. I'll let Lance talk about our rig, what we towed, and our PSI information.
Yeah. Running a Ford Ranger and a 3-ton off-road caravan. Ran on the front tires. Obviously, it'll depend on what your car is. You got to find out what suits you. But we ran cold 30 on the front, 35 on the rear, and 40 on the caravan. They obviously heated up over the time, but we found that really, really smooth on that corrugation.
Yeah, and we also have a long range fuel tank. So we get about 800 Ks on the long range. So that we didn't have to fill up very much, which was great. But every car is different. So you might have to fill up at every fuel station. We could actually skip quite a few. So,
Yeah, and we're going about 80 Ks an hour
yeah,
most of the time, except for obviously when there was a couple of washouts.
yeah, yeah. So it was quite smooth. So, and pretty much once you get off the sealed roads in Yulara, uh, you need to lower your tire pressure. And we didn't pump back up until actually Leonora, which is past Laverton. But really, Laverton is where the sealed roads start again. And that's where you should pump up your tires again. So you won't need to do it up and down on the road unless conditions are different and you feel it's suitable. It's up to you. But we found that we didn't really need to do like change them at all. And it all ran really, really smooth so far. So when it comes to the damage and the dust from driving on the dirt roads, I'll kind of go over what happened with us. It actually really wasn't bad at all. We do have a dust reduction system in our caravan, and we still got dust in through the battery box on the floor, and it really wasn't much. I vacuumed it up and wiped it up, and it cleared up really quickly. But if you're really worried about dust, don't do this drive. Just don't do it because you're going to get dust in the van. The outside of our van is completely covered in dust, in red dirt. Yesterday, when we finally got off, we used this little blower. It's amazing. It is so great. And we got a lot of the dust off. I mean, we're going to have to do a proper thorough wash when we get back to Perth, just so it doesn't ingress and get really, really bad.
Lucky us, it's raining right now, so that'll help.
Yeah, that is the worst that we've had. And it really, really isn't too bad. We have one cupboard that came off, which that one always comes off. So
I think it's
everything,
a volty hinge.
yeah,
So
yeah, it's fine. Not a big deal. And then I made sure I put everything on the floor, nothing like hanging because I just didn't want to have to clean up a mess later. So I just stored it all in the bathroom. And then once we got to the next station, we pulled it off and pulled it out. Yeah, so it was absolutely fine. And then we had one reflector that broke, which is easily fixable. And then our light bracket on the front of the caravan broke, but it's really, really flimsy aluminum. So it snapped, easily replaceable. So really, it was very smooth sailing the entire drive so far. Yeah, can't complain about it at all. Would highly recommend. On the drive from Yulara to Laverton, there's no dump points, no water top ups at all. And the only toilets are at the roadhouses. And there might be dump points or water top ups at the roadhouses if you stay at like the caravan parks there, but I don't know. We didn't stay there. We ended up staying at a free camp just outside of Warburton. And then we also stayed in Kalgoorlie at a free camp, which they had a dump point there, but that's past the Great Central Road area. Some fun facts about the trip that we've done so far. So we were planning on traveling from Yulara to Perth over 5-6 days because we just didn't know what the conditions were going to be like. We are on day 3 right now, and we've left Kalgoorlie this morning, and we plan to be in Perth today. But we have been hauling the entire way. We've been going max 80 on the dirt road, so not too fast. And we don't go too fast on the sealed roads either. So,
well, it's a max 100, and generally I'm anywhere from 10 to 20 Ks on a day.
yeah. Yeah. So the first day you drove 9 hours. We don't have any kids and we don't have any pets. So we don't have to take a lot of stops. Just stopped at the roadhouses to go to the bathroom and stopped every 2 hours to stretch your legs. And that was about it. Oh, on the Great Central Road, the roads are incredibly wide, so there's a lot of space. So even though there aren't very many rest stops, you could just find a safe place to pull off on the side and people can pass you easily, but we didn't even have any. I think we had one person pass us the entire time we were driving from behind. The second day we drove for 12 hours. And we drove into the night for a little bit because we just wanted to get to Kalgoorlie. So it was a long, long day. Well, we didn't drive, Lance drove. You drove the entire time. Thank you for driving. I worked, so
It's fair.
works out. So today we've left from Kalgoorlie. We plan to get to Perth. That's going to take us around 7 to 9 hours, depending on how slow we drive it. It's raining. Yeah, you don't have to go that fast. So it just depends on your situation. We just were kind of like, we'll get there as quick as possible because there aren't very many attractions to see along the way. And we've been to Kalgoorlie before. We've been on the attractions on the way. So it just depends on what works best for you. I know if you have kids and dogs, you're going to have to take quite a few more stops. So and that's totally fine. The most we spent on fuel was $4.28 a liter. So it's insanely expensive, but we are traveling during the fuel crisis right now. So this is very expected. We just had to bite the bullet and deal with it. And that's fine. It's not going to stop us from traveling. So we're just going to take it on board and deal with it as it comes.
We spoke to the attendants and they were saying no issues whatsoever with availability.
Yeah.
They said they've had lots of people calling and checking. They've had no issues. It's just expensive.
Yeah. And that they've had no problems with fuel. Obviously, you have to be mindful of their opening and closing hours. So that is probably the most important thing that you need to do is be mindful of that. Public holidays, weekend hours, weekday hours. Go on their websites as well. They tell you exactly how much the fuel is as well. So, and they keep it up to date on there, and ring them if you have concerns. They will let you know. We only filled up at Warrakurna and we filled up at Yulara.
Yeah.
Those were the only two ones. And then the next place that we filled up is Leonora. So yeah, we went quite a long ways in between refills, but it just depends on your car and what your car can do. And then other fun things that we saw on the road, because it is quite a long drive. You can only listen to so much music and so many podcasts all day long. So there were a lot of fun things to find on the way. There are a lot of wrecked vehicles on the side of the road, burnt out vehicles. We counted 260 wrecked vehicles, and apparently there's over 300. So these were the ones that we saw. There are a lot on there. It's actually really cool to see. They're very, very old cars as well. So they've been there forever. They're all rusted, are very interesting to look at. We saw 8 wrecked trailers or caravans, something that was being towed. We saw 15 wild camels, which was so cool. They're so funny. And we saw 13 brumbies, which are wild horses. We saw 1 snake, which was the first snake that we've seen on the 5 months of traveling that we've done. So yeah, and that was just on the road. No kangaroos, no dingoes. Didn't get to see any dingoes, unfortunately. And while we were driving, like on the Great Central part, so from Yulara to Laverton, we only saw past 32 vehicles that were passing us. So really didn't see that many on the road, but everybody was friendly. The road stations, everyone was really friendly. And the number one thing that we saw driving, where the limit does not exist on counting because it's impossible to count how many there are, is tires and rims for cars. They're everywhere. They're like the Outback ornament. They're absolutely everywhere. The limit does not exist.
Couldn't drive 5 minutes without seeing another one.
Yeah, I couldn't. I wouldn't even say 5 minutes, even like a minute. They're everywhere. There were some times where we saw like 4 or 5 wrecked cars within our eyesight. Like that's how many there were. We're on the road now on day 3. We've left Kalgoorlie, heading to Perth today. Should take us 7 to 9 hours. Who knows? But the whole drive has been great. Like we would highly recommend it. I wouldn't deter anybody from taking it. Yeah, unless you don't like your caravan or your car to get dirty. Like, don't do it. Just make sure you check the road conditions. It's really important to check that. road conditions change due to weather, due to mainly weather, due to uh, corrugation or road trains traveling on them. So, yeah, just do your part in checking. You get your permits. Oh, make sure you also read your permit conditions because there are rules around what you can and can't bring into the area. There are restrictions on where you can go, so make sure you read that. Yeah,
Fuel available is the Opal variant if it's the petrol.
yeah,
It's fine for most cars, but just make sure you're happy with that.
yeah, yeah. So, and do your research. We just figured we'd create this video just to be helpful for other people.
Quick summary
Yeah.
that's current.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, let us know if you have any questions. Happy to help. Enjoy.
Bye.
Toodles.